LeBron and his influence, his impact on everything that was going on in Lakerland last year. I find it to be interesting how he breaks down all the things LeBron said and his influence on this franchise and where they are right now.
And he turned up the volume as the year went on. He puts this tweet out that I hear all the haters, and he puts the tweet out that, hey, we're going to make up for this, Laker Nation, believe me. And then he goes at All-Star Weekend and says he wants to play in Cleveland, and then throws some shade at Rob Pelinka and says Sam Presti's the greatest GM in the game. Like, he made things a more difficult working environment. I think from his vantage point, he thought it was going to turn around and have the last laugh, but it never happened. And so I think you get a more measured approach, really committing to the defensive end of things earlier on than he did last season, and giving Darvin his best.
Did you see it that way, Jay?
I don't understand what the problem was with LeBron James continuing to apply pressure. He's won a world championship 2.5 years ago. This is who he was. And by the way, with the exception of injury, guys, the dude had an MVP-like season. So, and he, by the way, when all this stuff was happening with Russ, he put out a video of Russ playing like, oh, I think they've forgotten. Okay, like, I respect who LeBron James is, and I'm okay with him turning up expectations. The dude is doing incredible things at the age of 36, 37 years old. The expectation should be to win a championship every single year. Did he miss the mark to a degree on Russell Westbrook? Sure he did. So what? LeBron is going to keep coming, and that's what makes him special. So for anybody that wants to throw flack at LeBron James, look at the resume. You can say, oh, well, he's look at what franchises have been since he left. But, okay, he's won world championships. And this is what comes along, or this is what happens when you have a seat at the table. When expectations are LeBron James winning a championship every single year, he's going to bring that kind of heat. I respect the hell out of it.
No, there's no question that he deserves a seat at the table. There's no question that he deserves say in everything that you do in an organization, because based on his resume, he earned the right to do those things. I think what's happening in these situations, though, is that, one, he's in L.A., Jay. It's different. Mm-hmm. This is not New York basketball. It's not Cleveland or Miami. It's L.A. And so when you got a long laundry list of the type of players and Hall of Famers and in statues and all of these sort of things, you're now a rental in that situation.
Yep.
And so when you're a rental and you go out and you essentially become the de facto general manager in most people's eyes in the public, and it doesn't work out, people looking for whatever it is to point that out. And then when they find it and they say, see, you're not as smart as you think you are, and it doesn't go that way, that's where you get all the backlash at, Jay. That's where you're getting it. No one is ever going to say, at least if they're smart enough, never going to say he doesn't deserve the right to do what he needs to do with the franchise and an organization.
I mean, I hear exactly what you're saying, but I guess, a lot of times we live in this, echo chamber where we have to be in a fury and be angry about everything so quickly, and we need results 2 weeks ago, months ago, years ago, right? Nobody saw
LeBron James.
I hear you, though, Key,
so
but nobody. Oh, let me finish. Nobody. I watched Russell Westbrook his time in Houston. Nobody expected Russell Westbrook to play the way he played last year. Nobody. That was drastic, right? AD, the injuries. Like, we knew that coming into it, that he was injury prone. But to play the last amount of games he's played in the last 2 seasons, like that's been way below career average. So I get that people are going to throw zingers and people are going to focus on LeBron James. But if you're looking at it realistically and practically, which we do need to make that lens more applicable to sports at times, like, the dude just won a champion, 1 out of every 3 years. I'll take that. And by the way, if they can fix the roster to a degree, like, they'll be back in the conversation. There are questions around it. But let's not say, like,
you
LeBron
don't take
James.
that, though, Jay. But you know how sports is, man. These people delusional. You cannot convince people what you see, because they don't see the same thing. They don't care that we won a championship in a bubble. It's like, okay, you won a championship in a bubble. Then you won that championship. You ran off half the team. You bringing in buddies, and Westbrooks and Carmelo Anthony's. And
Yeah, but if it was injury key, they would have. If they were injured, they would have beaten Phoenix.
You look, I get it, but the world that we live in on the outside, they don't see it that way.
Well,
they see LeBron James go at him, go at LeBron. We got an opportunity to go at LeBron.
I hear you, man. I have a tendency not to listen to the outside world when you're staying focused on a task. And I think that's the biggest thing for the Lakers. Like, continue to focus on what is and how you can fix this roster. There are a lot of moves we made remarks about thoughts about Malcolm Brogdon. We talked potentially about going out and getting a guy like Eric Gordon to provide relief, shooting from the outside. There are still moves that this team can make. And Darvin Ham, but the pressure does revert back now to, since Jenny Buss has said, you know what, that's on me, the pressure now reverts to Rob Pelinka. Now Rob Pelinka needs to make moves to get this team back in contention to make the playoffs and have a chance to win a legit championship again in Los Angeles.
It is, I mean, to me, the Lakers are always going to be the center of attention for mainly because of the Lakers, but also it's because of LeBron James. And when it doesn't work out, we always try to find people to blame.
Yes.
And what you have this year now is LeBron James getting the blame because it feels like he's the one that had all the influence on the roster, not Rob Pelinka. But as Jay said, it is Rob Pelinka who probably is the one on the hot seat, though, right, Jay? That's what you're saying.
I mean,
I got that clear.
Yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't just LeBron James. I mean, did we forget how much chaos was going on? Key, I remember when I said before I didn't think the Lakers was a good job. You know, everybody's like, what do you mean? It's the Lakers. I'm like, yeah, you don't hear a lot of veteran coaches running for the opportunity. Now, I think they got the right guy in Darvin Ham.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.